Hi and welcome. I'm Tini, and the goal of the show is to provide you with practical tips and strategies to enrich your life experience. And today I'm here with Bastian Michels, who is an optimist. He is a consciousness coach and a whiteboard fanatic, if that wasn't obvious. And today we'll be talking about how to go from confusion to clarity, how to discover your purpose and your direction in life, all to maximize your potential, both in business and in your life. So, hello, Bastian. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Hi there.
How
Nice to be
how
here.
how did you get started with this? Because I'm curious to know how did you come to explore this consciousness field and what you do?
So my background is basically very technical, so to say. My job was very technical, and I was very inside of my head and not really inside of my heart. And when I got to this journey, it all started with a couple of defining moments that I had in different areas of my life. And the first one was basically a breakup with the love of my life at that time. And I had such an emotional trauma and pain throughout the days, and no one could actually help me. And so I followed the advice from a friend of mine to go to a congress about consciousness, like spirituality and stuff like that. And it was like completely new for me. But what I found in one booth there was people working with emotional traumas and cleansing them. And it was like out of my rational mind to explain what was going on, because there were some people lying on the floor like crying their eyes out. And I was kind of curious and interested what's going on here. And then I got 5 minutes with a practitioner of them, and I did not explain anything about my emotional trauma. And she was like, within a second, okay, I know what's going on, just relax. And I was just standing and observing what's going on. What's she doing? Is she trying to hypnotize me or something? And she was just doing this in front of me a couple of times. And after a while, she was asking me, so how do you feel? And I was kind of like confused, because my arms started to like tingle like crazy. It felt like your hands fall asleep, all of a sudden. And I was like, I feel kind of pain in my hands right now, and I don't know why. She was like, oh, that's good, like just shake it. I was shaking it, and then she asked me again, so how do you feel? And I was like, well, good. I couldn't come up with the emotions again, thinking about my ex-girlfriend being with another guy. And there was like no emotional reaction to it. And I was like blown away. I was driving home for an hour from the congress. I was like really concentrated to get back into the emotional state, but I couldn't. That was like the day when I thought, okay, there's something more than the things that people tell you. There's more into that spirituality and stuff like that. And that was one thing there where I got into this area. And another one is what we were talking today about is business. So I basically started a couple of businesses, failed a couple of times, and through my hobby, I came to actually discover my purpose in teaching and being in front of the whiteboard and explaining stuff in a simple way, like complex stuff in a simple way. And that also was mixed with being more conscious on a day-to-day basis. Not going that deep into that esoterical spirituality, like talking with angels and stuff like that. It's more like a practical approach. And that's how I got started.
Okay. I think we're going to do a part two to this episode because I want to hear more about the story and everything. But speaking of practical, do you have some tips for us today? Well, obviously you do, but
Sure.
how
I
can
prepared
someone,
something.
yeah, how can someone go from being confused, feeling confused, or maybe overwhelmed to getting clear? And because you hear this over and over again, what's my purpose? What am I meant to do? And sometimes it's so frustrating because sometimes we can do a lot of things, so we don't know which one to pick. So, what are your practical tips?
So basically, it's all about doing a status quo check of what's going on right now in my life, because the past has so many informations for us that we can use to find out what our true purpose in life is. And I've used my whiteboard, of course, and I've written down a couple of notes here. Let's see if I can get that in the screen here. So the first step, as I said, is the quality check and status check. And what helped me a lot is writing a list of 3 sections. And some people already heard about that. It's a concept from the Japanese, the traditional Japanese concept of ikigai, it's called. And it's about the purpose in life, finding your purpose in life. It's pretty simple. So you ask yourself, what do I love? Which is basically kind of easy to do. What you're good at could also be kind of easy. And what the world needs. There's also a 4th section, which is about what you can get paid for, but that's something that I would leave out of the way for the moment, because it's just for you to focus on those 3 things. And just write down, like I written down like 12 points. And I mean, when you talk about things that you love, we basically tend to go just into the business corner and just think about the things that we love in terms of business. But it's helpful to escape that box of thinking and start thinking about every area and every aspect in your life. What are the things that you love doing, what you really love? And what you're good at can also be something that other people tell you, like your closest friends, your family that have been with you for quite a while, which can help you to identify those sections which you normally feel not just good at, but you don't recognize it sometimes. And what a world needs can be on a global scale, but it can also be coming down to the community wise. So what does your community needs, your neighbors? Yeah, like, you don't have to always think of these big visions in terms of changing the whole world at once. It can sometimes also be like small changes that have like ripple effects to make an impact. And basically, when you find those points where all of these areas meet, you have your sweet spot. And for those people, I believe, who want to use the shortcut in thinking about your purpose, I think our purpose is to follow our passion and utilize our talents to realize our vision and make our impact. That is like the general idea, what I believe in what our purpose is. And now it's just up to everyone to find his talents, his purpose, his passion, his own vision, and the way the impact works.
Yeah, I like
So
it.
that's the
So
first.
kind of when you identify the things that you love, you said it was easy, but sometimes it's not that easy. And I can tell you from experience.
Okay.
And I was thinking, could you use something like think about something that you do and you feel like no time has passed or you don't observe people around you or something
Yeah.
when you get in the zone. So that's the thing that you love to do.
Yeah. It's actually something that gives you energy. So when I started thinking about my purpose, I was just looking for those areas where I was not really like burned out or lost energy in the process. So when I stand in front of the whiteboard and talk to people, that's like what I love. And after each talk, when I go out and like take a pause, I feel more energized. And that's also a very good sign for you to find those areas in your life that actually give you energy, because there's a difference between um, your idea of what your passion is and what your true passion is, right? So, for example, I was following some other people's passion because I thought I'm kind of like them, and they have already found their passion, and I really like that, doing that, so I just follow them. But in the end, it turned out I was kind of like neglecting myself and my true origin, and tried to be someone else instead of myself. And that was something that always came from my heart, like pounding like crazy. This is not you. Stop that. Right.
Yeah, so you were
So
doing
sometimes
something
it's
you are good at, and you were thinking that you were also doing what you loved, but you were just doing what you were good at.
exactly the best part. Like for me, it was obvious. I love teaching, and from all the experience that I made, people told me that I was good at teaching. So sometimes those two sections, they match each other, and that gives you already a sign that you are on the right path. But it doesn't have to be that way. And one thing that you can do that's like kind of like a bonus tip. When you write them down, like 12 for each section, and you take a dice for each one of them, and you roll them, you can mix some different things. So what things that you love, that you're good at, that the world needs, and that can bring up some cool ideas that are very unconventional in terms
Right.
of
Yeah.
what you could do and what products you could create, whether it's a tangible or digital or services or whatever. It's also a good exercise to come up with some crazy ideas that you don't see on the market at the moment.
Yes, and it makes it a bit more fun and exciting to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so
I
the
love this
next
one.
step, the second step is
Yep.
all about going into your past, like doing past detective work and finding the red thread that runs through your whole life. So for me, for example, when I was between 7 and 14 years old, it's actually one of the best places to look out first, because it's a time in our life when we don't have that much pressure on ourselves. Of course, school, yes, I know, and parents, yeah, at that time. But still, it's not that your mind is so overwhelmed with all the responsibilities that you have and that society puts on you, especially when it comes to the belief system, the beliefs that you have collected already. So in that time, when you just look at it and ask yourself, what was I spending the most time in that area of my life, in that phase, in that period? What did I really love doing? Also can be a very good hint to figure out what you want to do. At the time, I was like in school, for example, I was like the clown of the class. I always loved to make fun of myself and make other people laugh, like other kids, right? So that gave me a clue, like standing in front of people and doing something to change their emotions, change their feelings, was something that I was interested in. It kind of like gave me energy, right? And with that in mind, just go through different phases in your life, like after school, when you got your first job. What was the one thing that always felt easy, effortless, where people were like, man, it looks so easy when you do these things. Like when I started my first job, I was explaining to my clients, I was a technician, and I was in the customer service. So I was driving from customer to customer and repairing their copy machines. And whenever there was a customer who wanted to know more about the machine, I was very happy to explain and even gather the whole office to do a little presentation how to use the copy machine without breaking it. So that was also something that showed me, okay, so there is something that I should explore more because it comes easy. And what I did, I would just wrote down a little sheet about myself and put all those just random words onto it to really see what do I identify with. So like for me, it's funny faces, it's learning off tracks, spirituality, teaching, drawing. So those things they came very, very easy for me to pop up and think about. When someone thinks about Bastian Michels, like I think about myself, what is it? What comes up? And when you did this past detective work before doing that, you will be surprised in what things come.
Yeah, and you use the past detective work to also link it to the first one, or is there a specific
Yes.
order?
Okay.
Because I'm
No.
thinking you can start with the first one with the status quo, and then you move on to the past detective, but then you find something more exciting and you go back to the first one.
Yeah, you can always change between these different states. This could be when you didn't start with point number 2 and start with point number 1. This is what you think from the current perspective, what's possible, and this opens up your mind a little bit more to go a little bit deeper. And when you've done this status quo check, it's not done really. I always keep refining it from time to time because I see my perspective has changed. So last year, for example, I went all into self-mastery and helped people with self-mastery in emotional, mental, spiritual realm. But now I see my my goal more into helping singles and couples in terms of relationship and consciousness as well. So it gets more narrowed down because I see this is my spot, because I've had like hardcore experiences in my past that were not so great, like really roller coaster stuff. And I've been through that and I've cleared that for myself. So I can help people on that scale with that problem without an ease. Without an ease, no, without a problem.
Hmm. Yes, and I mean, at some point, we all gather lots of skills and we have our life experience. So it only makes sense to evolve with time and to evolve what we're doing as well. Because it's perfectly fine to do the same thing from the beginning until the end, but sometimes it's actually okay to change and to switch and to do something else.
Yeah, you know, there was one sentence that helped me a lot. Um, when you start to love the process, you will never stop falling in love with the current status quo, which actually is the definition of unconditional love. And when you understand that, no matter where you are in your process, no matter where you are in your own journey, it's okay because it will change
Yeah.
sooner or later, because everything changes. And falling in love with that can really take off a lot of pressure.
Yep. I love it. Let's go to step number 3.
Okay. So the last one is a practical exercise that I love to do from time to time, which is all about aligning your heart and mind. Because in the past, for me, my mind was kind of like dictating my whole life. And I was pushing my heart and my feelings away because I was so used to the logic of my mind and looking into the future, reflecting on the past. It seems to be like the dictator, right? So instead of just getting rid of our mind and stopping the thoughts and just focusing on the heart, it would be more, I think, logical actually to get a companion, which is the heart, to the mind. So basically, the heart-mind alignment is a short exercise that helps you to align your subconscious mind with the power of your heart, to tap more into your intuition, stop the overthinking process, and actually, yeah, become better at decision making because your decisions are coming from the heart, which is also aligned with the whole process and before. Because what you love doing and where your heart is like going crazy is where the energy is going, right?
Yeah.
And you can think like thousands times about something, but one feeling attached to it that skyrockets everything. That's the thing that we want to look for. So this exercise takes you 2 to 3 minutes a day. And it's a simple exercise where you start with the hand on your heart, and then you take like 3 deep breaths. You can close your eyes if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe in and breathe out, like really deep. Fill the lungs, the stomach, like everything full with air. And then I want you to step into a feeling. You can continue with your own breathing rhythm, but then there are 4 different feelings that we want to step into. And the first one is care for anything or anyone. You can really step into that feeling of care that you have for anything or anyone. The next one is appreciation. What do you appreciate? Can also be anything or anyone. The next one is gratitude. And the last one is compassion. And after you've been through all of these feelings, you take another deep breath in, breathe out, and come back into the present. And this helps you to, yeah, like help the mind to become comfortable with the being in the present moment, in attachment to strong emotions that you create yourself. Because what we know from quantum physics is that basically our emotions are the ones, and the feelings that we have in the present moment are the ones that attract the things that we have in life, and not the thoughts. Sometimes people think, oh, I thought about my business not going through the roof, and now I have to be thinking just positive thoughts. That's not the real problem. The problem is the emotions that are attached to the thoughts
Yeah.
that cause these things to happen over and over and over again. So therefore, becoming more aware of your current state of feeling and vibration and being is also very helpful to attract the things that you want.
Yeah, this is a really powerful exercise because it teaches how to create feelings. And then when you're able to create the feelings, you can experience any feeling that you want more of. And by experiencing more of it, you get to do the things that bring that feeling into the present, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. Thank you so much for sharing the practical steps with us. If people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Basically on Facebook, they can
Mhm.
connect with me on Facebook.
Okay, I will share a link to your Facebook profile in the description. Are there any parting words that you'd like to share with everyone?
Yes, there's this one big conspiracy about hustle and doing the work. And what I've recently learned is you can, with all these emotions, this energy vibrating and sending, you can see this as a walkie-talkie. So all of us are walking walkie-talkies. And there are two options to use the walkie-talkie. One is pressing the button and speaking, and the other one is releasing the button and listening to what's coming up. And what I've learned now in life and in business is to have a balance between sending and receiving. And in the past, I was just doing the work, trying to get customers and all that hustle, right? And I was constantly sending and was waiting to receive an answer, but didn't release the button of the walkie-talkie. So the interesting part here is that when we start to relax and get out of the business and really take our time and be conscious about that. So like, for example, working 3 hours on that video to extend my outreach to get more clients. Then I take a break consciously to receive and let the universe, if you want to say it like that, do the work for me and let the customers come to me. And really separate these two parts is very, very important.
That is super cool. That's really interesting because you do the work and you give and you do all the things, but you don't take a break to receive and to let, yeah, just receive whatever it is that we want more of. And we say that, yeah, let's hustle and let's work hard today for 1 year, for 5 years, and then we're going to relax. But that doesn't happen.
You know, whenever there are people that do exactly the opposite of what the crowd is telling you, you should be very aware, or not aware, but more like cautious of what people tell you. So, for example, if you listen to people that have what you want, you always have to look behind that. How did they got there? It's not that they have a lot of money, that they're successful, but how did they got there? Did they work their ass off? And is that actually what you want? Or did they were like had so many strange coincidences where it seems like it was effortless for them to build a six-figure business or whatever?
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you. I enjoyed this.
You're
And
welcome.
I will be doing the steps. I will be going through the steps because I'm just curious and I do like to explore myself and whatever it is that I'm passionate about. So thank you
Let me
so
know how
much.
it works.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone, if you're doing the exercises, let us know what you've discovered and what you've learned from your detective work. Because I'm also a fan of detective work and I like how you described it. Yeah, thank you so much for accepting the invitation and for being on the show. And
Thank you.
everyone, stay inspired and have fun. Talk to you later. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.